Morning everyone, interior detailing. Today we're going to do a how-to on how to tackle things like plastics, leathers, carpets, glass on the inside, all that sort of thing. We're going to be discussing the materials and chemicals that the everyday person can use for the inside of their vehicle. We're going to discuss the things that I would obviously suggest and recommend you use. Got a mobile detailing van that's packed ready with tools, all the equipment, all the chemicals, everything that I'd need to actually do this job. You know, we've got the compressor on board with a tornador, we've got drill brushes, we've got scrub pads, we've got every chemical that we need to actually get the job done. So I'm going to bring you on today. I'm going to show you a couple of how-tos. I'm going to give you some advice on how to tackle your own interior. And the thing is with interiors is they're all different. If it's a German car, like, you know, the Audi, the Mercedes, the BMW, typically the carpets are nice and plush. They're a lot easier to work with than a car like, say, a Ford, or the French cars, the Citroens, the Peugeots, etc., where their carpets aren't quite as plush and nice to work with. Sometimes you might find you try and hoover one of those vehicles out and you don't pull anything out of it because the carpets are really stubborn. So we've got a couple of tools that we can use that I'm going to show you today that will help with that, as well as obviously the process. The process is important. And on this vehicle in particular, I mean, this is my van. She's very dirty at the moment. She's a workhorse. She's been neglected for the last couple of weeks. You're going to see that actually sometimes you need to do the process not just once but a couple of different times over and in a couple of different orders. And depending on how bad the interior actually is, you may want to do this in a different process, in a different order altogether. For example, on this van, she is very dirty and the carpets are not great to get stuff out of, really, if I'm honest. It's going to require me to go multiple rounds with the blower, with the compressor, with the drill brush, with the hoover, and then steam her all out, brush her out again. It's going to be rinse and repeat a couple of different times, to be honest with you, until I get the result that I actually want to get and the result I think I can get from it. I'm going to start off on this door card, which is plastic. It's obviously not that bad, to be honest with you. The plastic in my van doesn't really get too drummed up. We've got a couple of cobwebs up here, and we've got some sticky stuff and sort of food and whatnot ingrained in there. And the best thing for food that's ingrained into plastic or carpets is the steamer. And the steamer devours anything like that, and to be honest with you, it's the best port of call to start with. So I'm going to steam into all the nooks and crannies first. Sometimes the steamer can leave a little bit of residue behind, so we're going to use the steamer first, get into everything that we can't get into with, say, a brush or a scrub pad, steam out all of those crevices, and then I'm going to run over it with a fresh interior from Infinity Wax, scrub pad and a brush, to make sure there's no residue left behind. This process will also get rid of silicone. Basically, a lot of car washes use silicone-based cleaners to clean and make these plastics look nice and shiny, which is not what you want. They're supposed to be a nice matte finish. If it's shiny, either it's grimy, thank you, speak Sean McCartney, shiny's grimy, or that shine could be oil, could be moisturiser, could be the silicone-based cleaners, but it could be a lot of different things, but you don't want it looking like that. You want it looking nice and factory fresh and nice and satin. So let's get cracking. Fresh interior from Infinity Wax. It's a dedicated interior cleaner. Yeah, I've got a scrub pad. Now I get these from microfiber.com. Obviously I'll put all the links down below, but you can get these at most detailing shops, to be fair. Blown out now, just to make sure that there's nothing in any of the crevices as it was, and now we'll move on to the next bit. You see me here just hitting the dash with basically the exact same process as what I did on the door cards. Steamer for the creviced areas, brush with a fresh interior for the large areas on the scrub pad, and then dry off with a microfiber towel. Moving on to the carpets, like I said, they are going to be difficult in this van. It's a Peugeot partner. The carpets aren't very plush, they're very stubborn to get stuff out of. Here you can see me lathering the carpets with the fresh interior, which is, like I said, a dedicated interior cleaning product, can be used on plastics, leathers, carpets, etc. Here you can see me just banging her out with a drill brush. What the drill brush does is basically tries to get rid of as much debris and crumbs and this and that from the carpet as possible, brings it all out from the bottom of it, allowing you to remove it much easier with the hoover afterwards. It also gives the carpet a nice clean. Obviously the fresh interior with the cleaning product coupled with this brush going into it at, X RPM, It cleans the carpets out, darkens them up again, gets them nice and fresh. Next, I'm introducing the Tornador attached to my compressor. Effectively, this is a blowing device which does a similar sort of thing to what the drill brush does, which obviously removes the debris from the bottom of the carpets. And obviously now, having used the drill brush, it basically blows them out of the top of them, which is going to make it much easier for me to come along now with a hoover, as you can see, and pick all of that debris up. If you hadn't done this step, it would be much more difficult to actually get rid of it with the hoover. You'd be there for bloody ages doing it. And annoyingly, with this van and the way the carpets are, I did actually have to do this process once or twice over to get a perfect result. In the German vehicles and carpets that are much more plush, you probably only have to do this process once. Having given the carpet a quick blast over with a steamer after that first process, I'm just going around for a second time just to make sure we get absolute perfection from it. You could also use a wet vac extractor at this point, but it wasn't necessary. Onto the driver's side. Next, we're going to discuss cleaning the glass on the inside. Well, same thing works for the outside as well, in fairness, but typically my personal advice and what the best thing I would suggest you do is to actually give your glass a clean down with some IPA first, which is an alcohol cleaner. This is basically designed to actually remove polish residues from your paintwork before doing things like ceramic coating, etc. But this works really well for getting your glass primarily clean before going ahead and using the next thing, which is a dedicated glass cleaner, as it was. This is Spotless Glass Cleaner from Infinity Wax. This also has SiO2 in it as well, so technically this will clean your glass and actually provide it with a little bit of protection to enable some beading, so that water basically is repelled from the surface and stays cleaner for longer. You can use this on the outside or the inside of your glass, and this is what I would use as a secondary step to the IPA in an ideal world. This will get you a completely smear-free finish, and like I said, it'll add some beading properties to it as well. You can see the glass is pretty dirty, believe it or not. Most of these marks are from my little lad, young Tyson, that's had his snotty nose all over the glass, rubbing it all there and everywhere. Dog's got no respect. So like I said before, I would start with the IPA. This will give it a nice base for getting the surface nice and prepped, ready to go ahead with your glass cleaner. Couple of sprays here will do the job. Don't overdo it. If you overdo it, you'll end up with smear marks. 1, 2, maybe even 3 sprays at tops will do the trick. Use the wet side of the cloth and then just flip her over. Use the dry side and get rid of any residue. Of course, do the same on the other side and you're good to go, ready to go ahead and grab the glass cleaner. Now, the IPA alone will do the job. In theory, it'll get you nice, clean, smear-free glass. As you can see there, that's done, that hasn't been done. But you want to go ahead really and use a dedicated glass cleaner as well. 1 or 2 sprays in there like that. Again, fresh microfiber cloth. Make sure you're getting into all the edges. And you ideally want to use the less side plush of the less plush side of the cloth rather than this side. This side will make it more difficult for you, to be honest with you. Again, like I said, use the wet side first, spray it on, clean it off, and then flip your cloth over, making sure you're getting into all those edges. And I find that circular motions help get rid of glare as well, rather than straight strokes. Once again, go ahead and do the same on the other side. Use one side of the cloth, spray the glass down, wipe it over, and then flip the cloth over and get rid of any residue. This also works perfectly well on mirrors as well. Moving on to the leather, if I'm honest with you, you can get away with using Fresh Interior, the products I showed you earlier on for the plastics. That can also be used on your leathers as well, and it'll give you a reasonably good job. It'll come out quite nice, but in an ideal world, what you want to use really is a dedicated leather cleanser. Now this is obviously, again, this is Infinity Wax's product. This is the brand that I use in general, to be honest with you. This is really good at leaving a nice matte finish on your steering wheel, on your leather seats, leather door cards, anything like that really, anywhere where there's any leather. It's nice and gentle on them, it won't tarnish them, it won't, you know, it's not unsafe to use, it's perfectly safe to use on your leather. Accompany that alongside a scrub pad. That's what these look like. One side's microfiber, one side is like this sort of almost woolly sort of material. This is really plush, and it allows you to get right into all the nooks and crannies of everywhere. This is what I use on plastics and leathers. You accompany this with this, you've got a weapon for absolute mass clean action, as it was. I'll show you in a second anyway. I haven't really got much leather that I can actually use to show you in my van currently for the purpose of the video, but I'll see if I can dig up some footage elsewhere of me using this on another another vehicle and show you, but I'll give it a go on my seat covers. It should do the same sort of effect anyway, really. That's me happy as Larry. I've got a nice clean van to work with, all organised. All my cloths are colour coded in the right piles of first, second and third grade. All of my pads, all of my polishes, all of my products are all exactly where I want them to be, all topped up, all ready to go, ready for another week ahead of me. Hope you enjoyed the how-to video, guys, on the interior. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that malarkey. And yeah, any suggestions for the future, hit me up.